my name is Rebecca MacDonald. Welcome to Performing Arts at St John Rigby College, and I am the Performing Arts teacher. Today we are going to look at some character development. So, characterisation. This is who you are playing. So how are you going to interpret that role? What are you going to tell the audience about who your character is? And we can start with the given circumstances. Now these are provided by the playwright. So examples of given circumstances are things like the character's name, the character's age, their occupation, so what they do for a living. And then it's up to you as an actor to develop this further, so deciding how the character should be played. So are they posh, and how will that then affect perhaps how they stand, how they sit, how they speak? Are they really annoying? Do they stare at people? So what kind of actions does this character perform? We can develop this by doing things like role on the wall. So this is a technique where you use an outline of a person to develop the ideas for the character you're playing. So you'll have given circumstances by the playwright already, but this technique allows you to develop those, the information you've got about the character a little bit further. The example you can see here is actually a role on the wall based on Mickey from Blood Brothers. As you can see, there are questions on it. So we've got the character name is Mickey. Facts that I already know about Mickey: he's 14 years old, he likes a girl called Linda. These are the given circumstances because they are in the play. However, to develop that character further, this person has put questions like, how do you feel about your twin dying? Do you think life would be different if they were still alive? So you're helping to develop the character a little bit further by asking questions that are not necessarily in the play. Next, we're going to look at physicality. So physicality is how you move, how you stand, how you walk. It's your body posture, and it is incredibly important as an actor to know the character and what kind of physicality you need to show the audience who they actually are. So for example, you might use a bent spine for an older person, and this would be a stereotype because not all older people walk like that. You might jump around a lot if you're portraying a younger characterisation. You might walk like a supermodel, so you strut your stuff as you move around the stage to show that your character is quite vain perhaps. Or maybe you're slouching over because the character is quite lazy. Proxemics is the performance space and how we use that. And it's not just the floor space, but also the air space that we used as well. It's where you are positioned in the space will create different meanings for an audience. So if you're very close to your audience, it will show that your character is very confident, it's very dynamic, whereas if you are hanging back, you might appear more shy and retired. We also have dialogue. So this is the words obviously that we speak, but there are very, very many different parts of dialogue that we need to consider. So for example, your pitch. Are you speaking in a high voice because you're really surprised? Or is it low? Are you being threatening? You need to consider the pace, the speed that you talk at, and how that reflects the characterisation. You might use pauses. They can create a dramatic effect if you are in the middle of something and you stop and pause, and that creates a great dramatic effect in performance work. Your tone will also suggest the mood perhaps that the character is and what is happening to them at the time. So if your character is very sad, they're not very likely going to have quite a high-pitched voice and be really talking really fast, because that wouldn't reflect the sadness of your character. Projection is how loud you are. So you have to be able to project loudly enough that the audience can hear right at the very back, but not shout at them. You also might need to consider an accent. So, for example, if I am portraying someone that has come from Scotland, I need to be able to do that accent and do it well and maintain it throughout the entirety of the play. Don't choose an accent that you can't do. We can use emphasis, and this is where the pressure on individual words makes them stand out. So there's natural stress on syllables as we speak, but the first syllable in cabbage, but emphasise or stress a particular effect can change the meaning of a sentence as well as the feeling behind it. Intonation is the rise and fall of the voice. There's a clear movement up when we ask a question. So for example, if I'm saying, can you help me? The pitch goes up. If I said, can you help me? Doesn't have the same effect. So, I've got an exercise for you. I want you to try and find 2 different ways of saying each of these statements. Do you need some help? Where are you going? That was clever. What are you up to? Have you seen my bum bag? See if you can find 2 different ways of saying these and think about what the meaning is that is created. So for example, you could say, do you need some help? That's one way of saying it. But if I change the intonation on that, it has a completely different meaning. So I might change it to, do you need some help? The way it's said makes it come across as different. Tension is usually the climax of the performance, but there are many different forms of tension that can be used. So you usually have your moment of tension where perhaps the plot is finally unveiled and we find out who a murderer is, for example. But there are many different kinds of tension, such as angry tension, where you might be shouting at someone. There might be sexual tension, where people are being really passionate, suspense or fear. Okay, that concludes our lesson today. I hope you've enjoyed it and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.